You guys recording?
What do you need me to record? Just my audio?
Yeah. Just the audio. This is gonna be weird because I'm gonna be doing this full screen, so it's gonna be clipping off our faces, but I don't know. It's fine. All right, I'm gonna turn that off, and then make sure this is working. All right, so
I still prefer having all the faces. Like, they need to get this weird bar thing fixed, but I still prefer having all of our faces on here than how Hangouts does it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna start recording now. Thomas 38. We've been doing this for a while now.
Wow.
Yeah. Getting close to that year mark.
Yep.
Yeah. I just gotta make sure everything's working. I'll minimize my WWE watching for later. That's working.
Nerd.
Yep, I'm a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
Huge nerd. Where is my document? House notes. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Try Shot Gamescast. Each and every week, best friends gather around and talk about the news in gaming. This week, Ben and Lo has left us, and replacing them is
Forever.
Chris from from MetalBlade. You two.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
Uh,
You equal one Ben and one Lo.
Yep. Anyway, what's going on, everyone? Super excited to be here this week. It's been a long time coming, and I may not be Ben, but I'm going to try to bring his energy to this.
Yeah. I love Ben, man. Like, I always love having him on the show. He's like a bundle of energy that I can just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. We also have Justin here with us today.
Hi.
That was simple. Very nice.
Ben didn't give... Or, Ben. Dang it. Friggin' Ben. Thomas didn't give me any weird intro thing to go off of, so I was kind of just waiting.
After the last couple of weeks, I kind of just gonna let you have your own thing. Most of your face is actually going to be cut off by the sides here on our video version, so
He's gone.
you have to go over a little bit to the well, my left. I guess your right. I'm not sure. How does video production work? There you
But
go.
my mic's over here.
There's two of you now, by the way.
Cool.
Oh, no.
Just like last week.
Yeah. There's one that's like stuck with his eyes closed, mouth open, and then there's you.
That's
beside
odd.
it.
Did I fix it?
Yeah, that fixed it a bit. Yeah, that's good. I think if I move my mouse over it, it fixes up a little bit. But let's not dwell on that. This is not good audio,
Great
I guess.
radio.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Chris, you want to tell us about yourself, about your YouTube channel, what you're up to?
All right. Basically, I run the channel MetalBlade427. There may be like one or two you out there that have heard of that. If so, great. If not, then whatever. It's all right.
Learn about it.
Go learn about it and everything. But I'll save that for the plug at the end of the podcast. Pretty much, I am a Let's Player, but I focus more on like the educational aspect of it. I like to give a lot of stats and information about the games that I play. Go into more detail about the lore of whatever game I'm playing, like Five Nights at Freddy's, just for example. I do like it, regardless of whatever anyone says. And then just like what goes into making games and the ideas that were used to make particular games. So basically bringing you information you didn't know you needed. So go ahead and check that out after the podcast.
All right. I remember Justin said that earlier you wanted to talk a bit about board games. I understand
Yes.
like you recently got a new job like regarding board games, right?
Yeah. So, the topic that I wanted to bring today is outside of the realm of video games, but still, of course, dealing with games in general. We're all gamers here. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it be on the TV or on the table. It's all kind of the same thing. And I happen to just get a job. As of when this goes live, I guess a week ago from when this goes live. Whatever. Earlier this week, I started.
Okay.
The company is called WizKids. They're a subsidiary of NECA, which is the National Entertainment Collectibles Association. They make a lot of the big, high-detailed, like busts or figures that you'll see. You'll probably see them in maybe like an FYE or a Spencer's or something like that. once you see their product, you'll be like, oh, I know them, but you may not have known the name. WizKid's been around for a while. Their big thing that they make are hero clicks, which, you know, for people that are listening to this won't see it, but for anybody on the video, these are the little guys right there. I happen to grab Batman out of it. They're detailed figures of, well, this is Batman. They have Marvel license, they have DC license, Dungeons and Dragons. They have a Yu-Gi-Oh license, and they just got a Nintendo license, so they have an entire series of Ninja Turtles. And then on the bottom of it, they pretty much have the patent for the combat dial system. So as you spin the dial on the bottom, you change their stats, and then you additionally change their abilities that they can do. This game is ridiculously complicated. I opened it up to try to learn it, and it's not just an instruction book. It's like a novel, you know, like a 100-page summer light reading just to learn to play the game. So I'm still kind of going with it a little by little, but from what I can tell, even though it's very complicated, there's like a purpose to it. Like Batman has the ability of like a grappling hook, and that kind of takes over like the flying ability that Superman would have. So he'd be able to get over certain structures on the map and everything like that. So it may sound complicated, and just by the way that it's laid out, it looks it. But once you start playing it, you'll get to like know it better.
Like most tabletop games.
Yeah, exactly. Another one of that would be Dice Masters. That's another one of their big properties that they had for a few years. WizKids have been producing a lot of dice-based games. Most of them involve you starting with like a few dice, like maybe 3 or 4 to begin the game. But then as you play it, you roll the dice, you earn certain energy, and you can use that energy to, in effect, purchase more dice from your pool. So instead of rolling 4, you'll roll 5, 6, and then you can start building up your armies. And basically, it's like most games, knocking down your opponent to 0 health. I like Dice Masters. That's one of my favorite. I don't have anything like that on me at this moment, but you can find it anywhere. But the big ones that I wanted to talk about, just to kind of like correlate between video games and tabletop games, is kind of taking those two ideas and expressing one from the other. So it's like you go through a dungeon in a video game. Very simple. Walking from level to level, fighting monsters. As you know, you go deeper down, they get stronger. This one board game that I recently was able to play that just got released, I believe, in August by WizKids is called Dungeon Hustle. And it's kind of the same idea, where it has these, they're like little square tiles, maybe like 5 inches by 5 inches, something like that. And on each tile is, you know, a brick, and it has like a symbol on it. And there's, I think, like 106 tiles in the board game. And every time you play a new game, you're effectively shuffling it and laying them out in a 7x7 grid. So your dungeon is different every time you play. And as you jump around the board, which is the hustle, you're going to pick up the tiles that you jump on, and then you replace it with new tiles from the center deck. And as you go through that, you run into monsters. So if you're on like the first level, the monsters are fairly easy to beat, but as you go through the deck, they get harder and harder. So they'll get stronger, and it kind of like emulates what you would get on a video game, but you're doing it on a table with your friends in front of you. And I always find that there's something very like very cool about that. Like, it's fun getting online and playing with friends and everything online and everything, because it makes something like for the three of us and, you know, anybody else out there to connect a lot easier, because, you know, you guys talk about playing PUBG together and everything. But yeah, so it's always classic.
We've never talked about PUBG. I don't know
what is that?
I've never heard of the game.
Yeah, right.
Is that some like Fortnite clone or something?
Oh, maybe. But I don't know. There was always something, just, you know, growing up, sitting down at a table with my cousins or my friends or whatever, and actually like seeing those live reactions with people as you go through the games. I mean, you can go as far back as something like Chutes and Ladders or Sorry or Trouble or something like that. Like, the games were very simple when it came down to it, but it was more of the experience and the social gathering before we had video games, before we had online and everything like that. And personally, I thought that like board games were kind of coming to an end. Like, you can go into Target, and I would say you can go into Toys R Us, but I'm pretty sure most of them are going to be closing down now.
I think we still have them up here, Toys R Us. I think there's still like a Canadian thing.
On Target.
Yeah, fuck Target.
Yeah.
But I love Target. It's so good. But yeah, you go into those places and you look at the board games there, and it's slowly but surely, I don't know, in my opinion, looked like it was having less and less like space on the shelves and everything like that. So it's like I thought board games were kind of disappearing. But now that I got a job at WizKids and I'm seeing like I said before, they did the HeroClix and the Dice Masters, the actual physical board games. They only got into, God, maybe like 2 years ago, and they went from only producing a few to now having like, I think within the next like 6 months, they're going to have 30 different board games coming out, if not more. So I have a lot of work on top ahead of me.
Sort of licensed things like a Star Trek game. There was a D&D like adventure path board game.
Yeah.
A few other things, but I remember the Star Trek and the D&D games most. But there were a few others too.
Yeah, because I know like the week that I didn't start that week, but it's like I had like my final interview on Monday, and then I went into the office on Wednesday, and they gave me this giant box full of like just games. So I got a whole ton of free games, and so I can go home and test them. And one of them was kind of like that Star Wars game or Star Trek game. They don't have Star Wars. I'm sorry, Star Trek game. And it was really cool because it's like you have like a little mini Enterprise figure. So, okay, so just really quickly, WizKids, that's another thing they do. That's another one of their like big things they're known for, are making a lot of miniatures. So they have an entire set of Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder miniatures, both painted and unpainted. So you buy them to go to either your own personal game of Dungeons and Dragons, to like represent you as an avatar, or they have other games that you can use them in. So this one was a Star Trek game, and they had vehicles. You had like the Enterprise, and you had your brother's going to yell at me, Justin. I don't even know any of the the ships, but they have
He doesn't listen to this.
Okay, that's fine. But
you out because you won't hear this.
Yeah, right. But you have like miniatures of these figures, and it's an interesting strategy game because I learned a little bit about it because you have like a dial, and on the dial it has like all different movements for your ship, and you and your opponent pick a movement without telling each other, then you play it at the same time, and you'll actually move your ship in that direction. And if they're within like a cone, you can shoot them and do damage. So you're like figuring out where the best place to move your ship is, but still need to be within attack range. It's like I actually think it's called Attack Wings. So, but yeah, it's just situations like that that's really cool, to taking various concepts and putting it to the board. But like I said, they're coming out with a lot of these games recently, and the big thing that I just found out earlier this week is that you guys know PAX, of course, Penny Arcade Expo. Yeah, everyone heard about that and everything. Yeah, that's actually, I'm going to be there. The very first PAX Unplugged, which is strictly board games, tabletop games, dice games, card games. So I think Magic the Gathering will be there, and any Pokemon trading cards and everything. That'll be in Philadelphia from November 17th through the 19th, and WizKids has a booth there. So they already asked me if I wanted to go, which is crazy because it's definitely the weekend before I get married. So it's gonna be it's gonna be fun.
You're going? You're going?
Yes, I'm going. Okay. They asked me if I could go. I said about my wedding, and then the guys at the office were like, "Why don't you ask your fiance first?" So they made me text her in the office if I could go, and she approved. So I'll be there.
Nice.
I'll be demoing one of their games that are there. But you normally, when you hear those conventions and everything, it's like PAX is mostly known for video games. And now they already have, or this year they have their very first tabletop game. So there's got to be like a resurgence of these things coming out,
Yeah, there definitely is.
I feel like the resurgence happened like maybe, 2017? Like maybe 10 to 7 years ago? Ever since I heard like
it was with the resurgence of like D&D and stuff, when it became cool again to play these games.
Ever since I heard of like Settlers of Catan, like and that kind of stuff, like Karskakon, I don't know, I don't care. Ever since I heard about those games, I've heard countless people talk about how great board games are, and like there's different style of board games now, like German board games are apparently like really popular style of game. That's like the more strategic ones, like Catan, I think. I don't know. I'm not huge into the board game scene. Like I don't play a lot of board games. I don't have a lot of friends that like come and hang out. So like I still don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, same. I've got a lot of them, but I don't I never get to play them with anyone.
Yeah.
Because I can't like schedule people together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like there's definitely a resurgence because like we were at Target the other day. Sorry, Thomas. And
I actually think
and they
Target is
have,
very
like,
nice. The stores were very clean. I'll say that.
oh yeah,
Yes, they are. Very
not
nice.
up there, so I know you're bitter about it. But they had, I think it was Cards Against Humanity and Exploding Kittens, both just like a big display in Target, just like along, you know, like not even with the other board game, just a big display like in front of the electronics department. And I was like, so Exploding Kittens was a friggin' Kickstarter, you know, like card tabletop game a few years ago, and now like it's just in, you know, random retail stores. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that it's gotten that much, you know, publicity that they're actually taking up display space for it. And that's a little bit of a, you know, specialized example, but still, it's like that's proof that there's a, you know, there's a market for this stuff again, and that's cool.
Yeah, I think conventions are like a prime example of board games and card games. Like,
oh yeah,
they always had a space where, like at the Fan Expo, that's like our biggest convention in Toronto. For this kind of stuff, they always had like a space set up for that, and that's kind of like where I learned about Cards Against Humanity and all other types of stuff.
yeah, like, I went to the what convention was it? The St. Louis Wizard World Comic Con. They had like a whole room, like a big, you know, what would probably be like a panel room. They just had it all cleared out for a bunch of board games, and like you could just, you know, bring your people in, like grab a board game, you'd like go over to the table and like rent it out, and then just go over to your table and play. And like if you just wanted to, you know, grab a game and then like talk to people and like, hey, do you want to play this with me? Like you could just, you know, make some friends in the moment and play whatever game you've never heard of. And they had some people around the room that like would, you know, help you learn how to play it if you didn't know, like the people that check it out for you. They could like have someone there that would kind of walk through it with you. And it was really cool. Like we didn't do much. It was our first year at the convention, so it was like this Sunday. There was like a huge blizzard happening, not a blizzard, but like really bad snow. And so we were trying to like kind of wait out the weather to decide whether, you know, to go back, because it was like a 2.5 hour drive and I was driving. So I was like, I don't want to really drive in this weather right now.
Yeah.
So we just hung out in the game room while everyone else had already left, like Saturday to beat it. Like just playing. I think it was one of the Munchkin tabletop games.
I love those. Those are so good.
Yeah, because the regular Munchkin is more of a card game, but I think Munchkin Quest is more of like a tabletop with like the board and like tokens and everything.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure that out, and we couldn't quite figure it out. We ended up leaving. But yeah, they had a bunch of different games I'd never heard of. And like I walk into a Slackers and I'll just see like, you know, I think I've seen like that Star Trek game and a few others that I know the property, but I have no idea what the game is. Yeah. And I like flip it over and look at the back and I'm like, this looks super complicated. But my brother is always asking for board games for Christmas and stuff. And so like sometimes I'll play with him and he introduces me to a lot of them. But he's got one called Pandemic that we actually put on the wedding registry, which is really cool, and figured why not have someone else pay for it. But it's like, it's a tabletop game, but you're playing a role of like a some person related to the pandemic, like, you know, a doctor or a scientist or like a, you know, a biologist, like kind of specific things. And like you have your strengths and like how you kind of, you know, help with the with taking out this pandemic. And you're moving around the board trying to do different things. It's almost like a risk type board where there's like different countries and like the different, like the viruses and stuff spread. You have to roll for like what disease spreads where, and like different people specialize in different kinds of I can't think of a general word for like a, you know, disease, virus, like that's all different stuff in the game. I don't know what the actual word is for all of it, but whatever.
A pandemic.
Something different. Yes,
yeah,
a
there you
different
go.
pandemic, I guess. And the goal is like to take everything out and like clear it all, or, you know, like before it spreads too far out of your control. And it's like, it seems really complicated, but after maybe 10 to 15 minutes of learning, like we all had it. And it was like, you know, you play maybe a 40-minute game or whatever, and you're like, okay, let's do another one. That was really cool. So like that's the kind of thing, like you need a consistent group because you have to explain every game every time you play. It's like, it's not quite worth it with how long it actually lasts. But if you just explain once and then you get together like every week or something to play that game, like you're having a totally different experience every time with the same thing. Whereas like if you get, you know, 6 people in a room to play a video game, for one, good luck.
Yeah.
Finding a game that can actually support that many people at once and not just like pass the controller when you die. but also it's like you're playing the same game. Like you can do different stuff if it's like a Smash Bros or something like that, but you're still playing the same game. There's only so much of that. Whereas like with, an example like Pandemic, or like I mentioned on Charged Up a while back, the House on Haunted Hill or whatever it's called. The Haunting of Hill House, I think it is.
That's actually a WizKids game, by the way.
Oh, great! I love that game.
That's actually it's sitting. That's I have a shelf next to my desk, and that has like a bunch of games on it, and that's like on the lowest shelf. So I always look over and look at. I don't have it, but I'm like, oh, that looks cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it is really cool. I recommend checking it out now that you probably have access to them all. But that's another one where like you just get a random character and like you go through like as you explore the map, you open up different like omens of things that could happen in that room. You activate like a different like unique event at some point where it's like you could be attacked by zombies, or like one of your other people on your team could actually be like become the villain suddenly, and you have no idea what they're trying to do, but they're like possessed and out to kill you, or whatever the case is. Like all these different things could happen each time you play, and I've played through that probably a dozen or so times with my friends, and we've never had the same game twice.
Yep.
Even though it is the same board, same parts, everything. So, as much as I love video games, like there's a certain novelty of like variety in board games, where it's like you never quite know what you're gonna get. And I've been trying to get like more people like to play D&D and stuff with me lately, and like that's another example. But on the tabletop side, like it's a little more structured, it's a little easier to understand, quicker. Even if it's like a a D&D adventure path, like I mentioned that you guys have, in like board and card form. You're still like you have a character that's like I think pre-rolled for you on the cards, and you're like going through like different monster encounters and stuff that are on the cards, but you're like on a board and all that. So like you're still doing the same thing. It's that that role playing idea, but it's more structured board game. Whereas like I don't know if you guys have played a Dungeons and Dragons video game.
It's not that.
Like I love Baldur's Gate, but they're not quite the same.
No. And then what's also cool about games like that, like, okay, so what you're talking about, there's actually a brand new expansion to that type of Dungeons and Dragons style game that's coming out the 18th of October. And that's called Dungeons and Dragons Tomb of Annihilation. That was like the big thing that's been around and everything.
Okay. I think
that's like the newest style, or the newest, like, I guess, book or chapter of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't really know the lore behind it, but Tomb of Annihilation. Anybody out there can check it out. And what's cool is, like, if you had other older versions of that Dungeons & Dragons game, you can combine everything together. So besides just the initial box, which is gigantic, by the way, having countless scenarios in it, depending on how you shuffle your cards or who has what characters or anything like that, you can then start combining it with other packets to create a whole new game altogether. And I think it's like, novelties like that are like lost on people, because I think like generally, I mean, probably not us and most people listening to this, gamers have a different mindset, but like the average consumer or whatever, you talk about a board game and their mind will probably go to something like Chutes and Ladders or Battleship or Candyland, something super simple.
Are for kids.
Right, exactly. Kind of like how video games have the same, set connected to them. But like some of these games that like have been released recently are, like you said, Justin, you look on the back and you're like, oh my God, this is super complicated. And it does take a good 25, 30 minutes in some of these games to explain the rules. But once you know the rules, you can play for games for hours. Every time it's different. You get everybody having all these different reactions to it and everything. And it's just, I always wanted to be in the gaming industry. Like I went through like video game design and everything like that. But I also had like a lot of experience selling, like I had an eBay business where I sold like toys and collectible comics and everything like that. So I always liked the little figurines, and just being part of like a group that does this for like a board game where you can give it to people for them to like have their own adventures and everything. I don't know. It's so cool. And I've never been happier where it is. And I'm really glad to see like board games aren't a dying medium, that maybe one day I'll be on this podcast and I'll pick up a game. I'll be like, see that's my name. I made this game. And then, have that promotion for myself. But yeah, so it's just, I'm just very happy that board games are still around, and anybody out there listening, go to your friendly local gaming store, Target or whatever, and just check out the new stuff. Don't be afraid to try something new. It may look complicated, but trust me, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Unless it's Dungeons and Dragons, then it's or HeroClix, then that's complicated. But otherwise, that by all means, go learn. That's why we have YouTube. You can learn on that.
HeroClix is weirdly complicated. I never
yeah.
that.
I'm gonna have to start learning because I have a guy that sits next to me that literally is the guy that comes up with the rules. So I hear him on the phone talking to other people from other sites of WizKids throughout the country, and he does stuff like, all right, Batman is 6 spaces away from X enemy. He's 3 clicks in with a 4 power, yada yada. He uses this ability, and he's almost speaking like he's typing a code for a game. But it's just like, and he's doing it, and he's typing it along and everything. Like, it's fascinating. And then I look at the guy that's sitting behind me, and he makes the cards that go with each character. So he's like designing. Well, he has people already draw the images, but he's putting it on the card. He's designing the card layout, typing in all the rules and everything. I'm like, I could just sit there and watch. I mean, I have work to do, but I could just sit there and watch everybody all day just make a game. And I'm like, this is where I should be.
That's so cool. I'm jealous.
Took me a long time to get here. Long time and a lot of crappy jobs. So,
we just don't have stuff like that around here. Like, that's not even an option.
So, but yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Just like the idea of like board games as a medium, board games coming back, PAX Unplugged. I guess if anybody is around the Philadelphia area, definitely try to get tickets to PAX Unplugged. I'll be at I don't know what I'm going to be doing at the booth, honestly. One of the big things that the company, when they hired me, they said they liked the fact that I like to talk. So, I know. So I'll probably be it really is. So I'll probably demoing a game there. So come and check it out. Yeah, we'll go with that. All right, cool.
Okay, I guess we'll just move into the games, like the video games that we've been playing.
All
right,
Justin.
I've mostly been playing some SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yeah.
That I kind of lamented about last week wanting to play, and I did it. I played it. That's a really good video game. That's most of what I have to say. Like, it feels a lot like a Metroid game. And so, like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time, like, getting really into it because I just finished Metroid game. And so, like, I got that itch scratched, and now I'm into this, and it's like, there's a repetitiveness to the game that is not a bad thing at all. It's actually kind of addicting. And so, like, I get into a mine and, like, start digging and, like, get a bunch of treasure and then, like, fill up the inventory, go back to the surface to unload all of it, get some more cash, upgrade some stuff. There's a really cool, like, refined upgrade system in this game where you pay to, get the next tier of each thing. Like, you make your pickaxe stronger. You increase your bag so you can carry more stuff before you have to come back. You increase your water tank, so like, which is kind of like your ammo. So you have more like uses of each like special item, things like that. All of that's just normal upgrades. But each time you go up a tier, you unlock a new mod for that thing, which are like a very minute things where like one might be, like it recharges, like when you get into the water, it recharges your water tank faster. So you don't have to spend so long like hanging out in the water. But there's some others that are a lot more complicated. Like every time you kill an enemy, you get some gold. Instead of like just, having to mine it and the tiles, like you add this mod and suddenly like you're just killing things and getting gold for that too. So there's some really cool stuff that you put your points into. And kind of the main thing you find in the wild, the Metroidvania type thing is parts to put into these mods, like cogs is what they're called. So instead of finding like your missile upgrades, your energy tanks, things like that, like that's all your upgrades that you just, buy. But in the wild, you're finding these cogs and then like different artifacts that when you get a certain amount of artifacts, you unlock the next like rare blueprint that are, kind of more unique, like better mods than like the normal stuff that you would unlock just by upgrading your stuff. And those are the ones that are really crazy. Like things like being able to create a portal anywhere to go back to the surface, that are kind of OP, but take a lot of cogs to use. So there's still that desire to really explore, because you want to get all of the cogs you can find so that you can get all the mods. And they're usually kind of more complex puzzle rooms. Like I just had one. At one point, you get a grappling hook type thing, because the whole point is you're digging down, kind of like you go to the left and right a little bit, but most of it is down, and it can kind of suck because while you can wall climb, like if you just kind of dig yourself into a hole, literally, it can be hard to like get a good foothold, just because of like the way the tiles work, and you can only like wall climb up a straight wall. So the hook shot lets you like grab onto the ceiling and shoot yourself up to where it connects. And if you release before you like connect to where it's connected to, you'll kind of keep going. So you can use it to like launch yourself up into the air out of a hole, which is really fun. But it just had a really complex puzzle, which is kind of annoying actually. But once I got it, I was like, that was satisfying. It's called the room is called the floor is hot lava. And basically you have to activate a switch that opens a door, but any platform you hit on the floor closes that door, and you have to hit the switch again, go through. And so basically you have to like kind of keep hookshotting to different blocks around the room to get through all the doors without touching the floor. And it's really tricky, but it teaches you that hook shot. But there's really fun stuff like that I wouldn't expect, especially like based on the first game, which is pretty much just a procedurally generated digging game with some upgrades and stuff like that. But now it's more of a actual like the map is static. All the puzzle rooms are hidden, but also static. It's got a more like Metroidvania style upgrade system, boss rooms, all that stuff. But it's really satisfying in a way that the first one kind of was just more shallow, and I like it a lot. It's hard because like I usually play the Switch on the exercise bike, and this is such an active game. Like with something like Mario and Rabbids, like you choose your actions and you just watch. Or like I was playing Project Octopath, which is an RPG. So again, you choose your actions and just watch. This is a lot more like you're running around, you're digging, you're attacking enemies, you're trying to do these complex puzzle rooms. So I find myself like kind of slowing down on the bike. Just like focus on playing it. Oh, right. I gotta keep going. So it's almost too like engaging for me right now. So I find myself not playing it as much as I would like to. At least while I'm biking. But it's a great game, and I recommend it for really anyone. I'd say Switch owners, but it is on PC and everything too. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I checked that out. Other than that, we checked out Fortnite, the Battle Royale mode, the free mode, and that's okay. I liked it more at first than I did later.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's fine. It's okay. Ben's here in spirit.
Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, like the map is too small. Is my main problem. Like you come in on this goofy bus. Like I love the graphical style of it. It's very bright, cheery.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel scared of it like I do playing Pumpkin by myself. But yeah, you drop in on this goofy bus attached to a hot air balloon. And like pretty much anywhere you try to land on the map, there's someone else there already. Because it's still 100 people, but the map is probably at least half the size of what it is in PUBG. At least it feels like it is. And because you can't zoom in on the map or anything, any town or whatever is the only thing that's really like noticeable in there. You don't see any like brightly lit little shacks or anything that you could stop in that wouldn't necessarily be like points of interest. So you just assume if it's not like a labeled town, there's nothing there, probably.
Exactly. I was just agreeing, like exactly like our PUBG plan is usually like we hit up a small like group of houses that aren't really labeled on the map, right?
Right.
But in this, you can't really do that
then
because
go
you can't
into the
really
game.
see the map detail too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so pretty much you just focus on towns because that's the only thing you really know what's there. And like you could drop and not see anyone, but that's because somehow they already got there before you did.
Yeah.
Like there's people that'll just cruise past you. I have no idea how, and land like within 10 seconds of dropping, and they'll go across the map and be there before you get there.
Yeah.
And I don't
Wow.
understand how the mechanics work. And I guess maybe
For the parachuting,
but
yeah.
it seems a little faulty. But the problem is the actual gameplay is fun. It's just like the games usually don't last very long because you drop somewhere with other people, and so you die within like the first drop because trying to find a weapon in a house, you're killed. Because there's really no like secret places to hide. And I'm sure if you just dropped into a random tree line, you'd probably find a cabin and grab like a weapon or two, maybe a treasure chest. But it's not clear like where you can go to actually find stuff.
Yeah, it's
whereas
hard
like
to
in a game like
plan
PUBG, you've got your map, it's very bland, but all of the points of interest are like bright yellow, so you know exactly where every house is and everything. Plus, you can zoom in and kind of tell in more detail. So also like the shooting feels a little floaty. Like I'm never quite like I thought I would be hitting someone, but then like I'd unload like 50 bullets into them, and they would kill me with the starting pickaxe.
Yeah.
Somehow. It's just weird stuff like that. Like it doesn't feel very well balanced.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like I like the aesthetics. I like the way it plays. Like I like that you can just kind of go in, and like if you can't get to the other side of a house, you can just break the wall down and go through it. And like you get materials and stuff. Like I like the crafting aspect of it, but I think it's got its PvE mode. Like I didn't try that because I haven't paid for it, but it's got its PvE mode, which is basically more of like a Titanfall type thing, I guess. Like everyone working together for a goal.
It's
I know
more like
Titanfall is
it's like a horde mode. Like you have to protect a certain point, and there's like waves of enemies that come, like zombies.
Okay, so like Left 4 Dead more so. Like Left 4 Dead with crafting.
Huh.
But I think it would do best as like a multiplayer, like online multiplayer survival game. With like maybe a 24 to 36 person game, because that's about what you would want for that map. No more than 50 for sure. And it still has that battle royale element, but it's smaller groups of people, and it's a larger focus on crafting. So like you could have teams, let's say, like 36 people split up into like teams of 6 or something. So like it's only squad based in this mode, and you you come down as a team, you build your base, you can fortify it, and like if you hide in that base, people have to like really hack it down, kind of like an RTS type thing, where the troops come in, they start breaking your barricades and stuff, and like get to the heart of your civilization, break that down, and you lose. That kind of thing, but like you're on the ground floor, like building all of this stuff up. So it's like it's a third person, like behind the shoulder RTS type thing. I think that would work better for it, because the crafting stuff is all really solid, but I don't really want to play PvE, and the battle royale stuff of it is okay as far as like going after other people, but there's just too many people for it to be focused, so you don't really get to like enjoy the actual game itself because you just die immediately. Unless you're just really good at it, which I get. There's probably going to be complaints of just get good, but again, you can't get into the game long enough to actually like learn how to play it well. So it seems
I
like
had the issue of our group. We would parachute in, and they're like, "All right, let's aim for this location." And then I think I was playing with you and Lo, or maybe it was Lo and Anthony from a couple weeks ago, and they would just bail on me. It's like, "Oh no, that's too hot." And I'm like, "Wait, we agreed to land here. If you're not here to back me up, I'm dead." Like,
yeah,
you need to back up your bro.
Right.
I don't know.
And to an extent, like the being able to break buildings actually kind of hurts it, because you go into somewhere and hide and try to find stuff, and someone just breaks through the wall Kool-Aid Man style. Like,
oh yeah!
Before you can't prepare it at a door or anything. You can't like brace yourself.
Yeah.
They just break the entire wall that you're hiding behind, and
then you build another one.
Yeah, so there's not that same kind of structure to it that PUBG has. Like that feels balanced, even though it's jank. It's balanced jank. Fortnite's just goofy.
It's goofy jank.
Yeah, and it doesn't work with that mode, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
The foundation is there, but it doesn't work with all of the PUBG stuff in there. They need to find a way to adapt it to their strengths.
I think the building stuff is kind of neat. Like, I'm usually like against, like I think I said on the podcast before, like I'm done with crafting. I'm over it. Like I'm not gonna play another game with crafting in it. But I think the crafting in this is kind of neat because you could just build a wall to protect yourself while you're getting shot, which is kind of cool. Like, so you can collect yourself and see where the bullets are coming from. That stuff is kind of neat.
That's why I think it would work better on like a smaller, slower paced thing.
Yeah.
Where like, literally a team drops in and like maybe there's a countdown. Like you have like 3 minutes to just do your building and stuff. And then the entire space opens up and it's a free for all. So like, you can keep building, you can keep fortifying, you can lay traps or whatever in your area. But like everyone can come in suddenly. But like within that 3-minute grace period, it's like everyone is free to, mine for resources, like lay traps at the perimeter, things like that. Like it plays to the strengths of the game while still being kind of a, quote unquote battle royale mode.
You know what'd be cool
like the wall in Minecraft.
Is if like each like for team modes, I guess not for single players, this wouldn't really work. But for team modes, if every team had like a section of the map they were in, and that was just like heavy with resources, and people would just mine that for like a minute, and then it opens up, and then like it starts closing in. Like, and so like that way it kind of forces everybody to move towards each other and fight, while also encouraging the fort building aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Something that like blocks it off for a certain amount of time, so that when they actually do get into each other, they're ready. And it's not just like, I know it sounds like I'm whining because that's like literally PUBG does the exact same thing Fortnite does, but PUBG does it better because it's a bigger map that can handle that many people. Fortnite can do that exact same thing, have 100 people, whatever, if it prepares you for the battle before everyone can just free for all. Or if it lowers the amount of people and does it more like a real-time strategy game. Either of those would work. And it's not a big change to the game.
I wonder how that 400-player project thing is going to be like. Because it's supposed to have social spaces and stuff like that. So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine 400 people in a game.
No.
It's massive action game, 392 people fighting together.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never played Meg.
That's pretty much it for me. I wanted to play A Hat in Time because that came out, today as of recording this. But we're recording a day early. So I didn't get time to actually, sit down and play that at release. I checked in on Tuesday, I think, because I noticed that it updated from like it was beta for, years. And then it updated to this like speedrunning event thing. That was like just kind of a special beta event. Mm-hmm. And then it updated from that to just A Hat in Time. Like just, the name by itself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, ooh, maybe the beta people can play early, like as a, a preview event thing.
Yeah.
And so I went to click on it and said, this game is not out yet.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'll have to check it on Thursday. And then now we're doing the show. So, I can't play it yet. But I'll talk about that next week because I really want to know how it's progressed over the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what have you been playing?
All right. So, stepping out of board games now, back into video games. This past week I haven't really played much, but I'll catch you guys up on kind of stuff that I've been playing recently. Now, mind you, I've just got my PlayStation. Actually, I got my PlayStation 4 at the end of March. It was like a month before my birthday. My fiance was pretty much like, "Do you want a Switch or a PS4?" And the only reason I went with the PS4 is because bigger library at the time. It was a lot cheaper. I can get more for it. Yeah. And I've always liked Sony in general. I have PS2, 3, and 4 sitting on my mantle, like literally right in front of me right now. So
March was like a huge time of the year for like both the Switch and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to go with that. So we found a great deal on Target. Sorry, but we did. Got like a brand new the PS4 Slim. I didn't get the Pro because I don't have a 4K TV. Doesn't make any sense for me to get it at least. Got like a brand new PS4 Slim with Uncharted 4 and whatnot for like $200 off of Target website because
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, because it was their sale that they were doing, and then they also gave an additional percentage off if I used the Target Red Card, which is like the Target credit card. Mm-hmm. So I was like sitting there at work, and all of a sudden I get a text from her, and she's just like, "Can you send me your Target Red Card picture?" And I'm just like, "Why?" And she's like, "Do you want this PS4 or not?" And I think I just sent it right away. So I've only had there you go, all yours then. Buy anything else you want, I'm good. So she got it for me like a month early, and I went to GameStop, picked up a bunch of things. So since then, I've been playing like a lot of PS4 stuff, downloading things and everything. The two big games on that I played and beat were Until Dawn, because that was free a few months ago.
I still need to play that.
Oh my god, that is the first and currently the only game on my PS4 that I have platinum trophied.
Oh wow!
Oh my god,
I found multiple runs.
3 runs. I did 3 runs of it. The first run I ran completely blind, didn't look at anything. I just went in trying to find. There's a lot of collectibles in that game, and each one is like it like delves more into either like the main story or the backstory of it. And depending on your choices, you could literally miss a room with like 6 collectibles in it because the story won't take you in that direction.
Jeez.
So I actually didn't get that trophy of getting all the collectibles until my final run.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I didn't know which path I had to choose. But no, first one was completely blind. Only a few people died. Second run was everybody survived, and third run was everybody died. And anybody that is thinking about playing Until Dawn or whatever, the game itself is fairly short. I would say like my first blind run of it, maybe about 12 to 15 hours, and that was still me searching around for everything. When I was doing like the speed, I guess they would be speed runs because I just wanted to get to the end with everybody either surviving or not. Mm-hmm. It took significantly less time because I didn't need to find stuff and I knew where I was going. But it's just like the replay value of that is interesting because they really take that like. I played a little bit of Life is Strange and I've seen people play it, so they have that butterfly effect to it the same way.
Yeah.
But I feel like Until Dawn takes it a completely different route because you have the same basic core storyline. Like it's going to play out the same way no matter how many times you play it, but depending on which like paths you take, you'll get different conversations between people. Sometimes they'll like each other, sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll have a situation where 2 characters are faced with a problem. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's none because they're both dead by the time that's supposed to be happening. So it's just really cool playing through it again just to see how like many different interactions you can get. And going through it the third time where everybody died, basically you got to be a dick to everyone. And just me naturally playing a game, I always have a hard time doing that. I don't know, just it's like, should you help the person? And I'm always like, yes, I must help them. But in this time, I'm just like, I want to, but I can't. So bye, and I just go somewhere else.
I had no problem letting people die in that game. I didn't like anyone.
Oddly enough, my favorite, I don't even remember what his name is, but I remember like one of the characters I really, really liked in the game. He was like one of 2 characters to die on my blind playthrough. I'm like, of course, the one guy that I liked is dead. But that was a really good game, so I recommend that to anyone. I finished the main story to The Last of Us, and I'm playing, and then I'm playing the Left Behind, that's it, the DLC, because I got Last of Us Remastered.
Yeah.
That's a really good game, and that is like, I think you guys were talking about, and it was either you guys or another podcast, I don't remember, but maybe it was something else, but it was like talking about storylines from a game translating into a movie. I don't remember if it was you guys or one of the other podcasts I watched.
We were talking about that. I think
it was you.
With Logan. Like Logan
with
was kind
Tomb
of
Raider, right? Or Logan. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because well, I know Tomb Raider's a big thing out nowadays with that becoming as a movie now, and that based off a game and how you do it. Yeah. So I mean, it was just. You take a game, now how do you take a game that is story heavy, like Last of Us, and turn it into a movie? I mean, that's a different subject for another time, but I just thought that that's like, Last of Us would make a great movie, but how would you do it? Because it is so story-driven, and even though the gameplay is a little repetitive, because you find yourself doing the same things in each chapter and in each location you're at, it's what happens between those events that I'm like, this is really good. Like, I enjoy the interaction between, like, Ellie and Joel and everything. So, I've been playing that. For my channel, I've been playing through Golden Sun. I want to put that as, like, my next playthrough on my channel. But I want to do it in a way where I don't start releasing videos until I have everything recorded. Because I used to do it where it's like I would record a little bit and then post it all, then I record a little bit and post it. And if I never got a chance to record, there'd be large gaps between things, and I don't want to do that this time. So I've been going through Golden Sun. And then Which is, I mean, it's a classic GBA game. I mean, you can't go wrong with that one. Like, I love
the Lost Age too. You know.
I know, and it's funny because there's like very few sequels on my YouTube channel, but I have to because it's literally like a continuation of the story. Because Golden Sun 1 ends in a cliffhanger that picks up immediately in the Lost Age. But that's
so mean back in the day.
I know.
Like we had to wait like a year and a half for
Yeah.
Lost Age.
But yeah, so I've been playing that, recording that, and going through that little by little. The other thing I actually been doing, I'll have a collab series, a collaboration series coming out on my channel around the same time, where me and my buddy Wes, we are actually playing Resident Evil 5 together. And I know you guys.
Gonna do that.
I know you guys talked about that at some point, and it's weird because it's like, so back when I got my PlayStation 4, it was probably like May. I was just finding stuff to try to put on it, you know, games to download, and they had a big Capcom sale, and they had Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. I want to say for like $27, and to me, Resident Evil 4 is worth that much, so I bought it.
Yeah.
Played through Resident Evil 4, beat that for the umpteenth time. This is definitely like
How many copies of Resident Evil 4 do you have?
I unfortunately had an original copy of Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube when it first came out, and I also bought myself the chainsaw controller. I don't know if you guys even remember that.
I do.
It looked weird when it was re-released.
Right now.
You have to. Chainsaw controller. Look for the yellow one, because that was the one that was released for the GameCube. On the tip of the chainsaw, like the front of it, for the GameCube, was all unique blood spat. There you go.
Fucking weird. It's like a game. It's like someone tried to make a GameCube controller, and then like they stuck out like the chainsaw end on the left hand side.
Yep.
And like they got rid of the actual holding part.
Mm-hmm.
It looks more like a thing that you would just mount on like a mantle or something. I don't know.
It was a functional controller. I never used mine. It stayed in the box and stayed up on my shelf. But for the GameCube, the front part of it had a blood splatter on it, and every chainsaw had a different blood splatter to it.
Yeah, so I see that. Yeah, that's cool.
I was in need of money many years ago, and I remember I ended up selling it for like $200. So that's sad that I don't have it, but I got some good money out of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, continuing, I had the original copy for GameCube. I bought it for PlayStation 2 when it came out. I have it for the Wii. I have it now for my PS4. So I love that game, and I'm a huge Resident Evil fan overall. But that's such a good game.
I'm just trying to imagine trying to play this game with this controller. Like it seems almost impossible.
I would imagine. I think it vibrated though. Like when you actually like played it and everything, it like shook like a chainsaw.
It'd be cool if it sounded like a chainsaw, like it revved up, like or whatever, however a chainsaw sounds.
Have you played Resident Evil 7 yet?
I have played the demo. I've seen people play it. I'm waiting for... There's a new version of it coming out that actually is like all the DLC slapped together into one. Yeah, see, as soon as Resident Evil 7 was announced and I got my PS4, I really thought about getting it, but then all that DLC was announced, and... I mean, I get DLC. I do. But I don't like paying for it, so I can wait. And
that's how I've been with Horizon Zero Dawn, and now that's coming out with an Ultimate Edition in December. So
and I just bought that not too long ago too. I bought it used, so it was pretty cheap and all, but I couldn't wait anymore. Not that I've started playing it, because I realized how long Breath of the Wild took me to beat, and I'm like, I don't have time to start another game that in depth.
Yeah, I bought my PlayStation 4 Pro right along with the Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep.
So like that was kind of like my first PlayStation 4 game. I thought it was worth it because I finally got PlayStation 4 and it's pretty damn good. I bought the Resident Evil 7 like full price, like the DLC and everything. I still haven't touched that freaking game. Like I maybe played 10 minutes of it. Is this Zelda? I think it was like around the time Zelda was out, or like I bought it right around Zelda.
Around the time everything came out.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, I'm an idiot and I spend a lot of money on games. So
that's all right. Well, Zelda was another reason why I chose PlayStation 4 over Switch, and the reason I say that is because I got Breath of the Wild on my Wii U.
Yeah,
I was one of like the 12 people in the country to do that. So, and it wasn't bad. It was fine. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to buy the DLC. I'll wait till I have a Switch and buy Breath of the Wild Ultimate Edition and leave it at that.
They'll probably do that.
Yeah.
I say like next spring they'll probably release that.
Probably. But yeah, no. Wes and I, we've been playing. We only played a little bit of it. I beat Resident Evil 5 beforehand, Resident Evil 5. I thought I was about to say 7. Resident Evil 5 before we started playing, just to get myself a layout of the game, remember the control scheme and everything like that. And even though we played, co-op, and I still had all of my guns from the playthrough. So, like, you're beginning the game, you have your standard handgun, you may get a shotgun. At most, the weapon strength is 100, 120, and I'm carrying a rifle on my back that has a strength of 1,000. I still died in the beginning because I think the enemies are, like, super powered whenever you do multiplayer, just because, like, compensate for 2 people playing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and, just when we play, you turn on a section of an option to the game. I think it's called like a reaction command or whatever. And pretty much all it is if you hit your partner in any way possible, they shoot out blood. Doesn't hurt them. It doesn't take away any health. It's just like an indicator you hit them. And when we found this out, there has to be at least 3 to 5 minutes of footage of us just knifing each other. So that's kind of how we've been playing this game, because you can't take Resident Evil 5 seriously because Chris has no neck, and it's all about the shovel booty, and that's really it. That's all you need about that game.
That's how Justin and I found fun in 6, was we just shot each other and knifed each other. That's
the only way we found fun in 6.
Yeah.
Garbage
game. But the only other game that I've been playing a lot of, and it's probably my new obsession, is actually a mobile game. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Really?
Is that the Final Fantasy 15 game?
I played a little bit of that back with the security job, and I couldn't get into it.
It's not the Final Fantasy 15 one. I will not touch that garbage.
No, I know.
It's a legit like turn-based game, and what I like most about it is that you can recruit. They're called units, but it's just pretty much like a statued figure of older Final Fantasy characters. So like I have a team that's made up of what's on it? It's Garnet, Cecil. I had Shadow, but I replaced him out with oh my god, I can't remember the Final Fantasy 6 character. And then I have Waka and God, I can't remember. Locke, that's it, because he's one of the few characters that have a natural steal in the game. And you just like, I mean, it's all random, RNG in terms of what you're going to get and everything like that. You have both heroes and villains. Like some of the big villains of the games are there, like Death Strike or Death something from Final Fantasy, I think 5. I don't have the game in X-Death. There you go. Thank you. There we are. I know words, but not the right combination.
Now who's the Final Fantasy master?
I never claimed that. The only thing I don't, there's a few little nitpicks and things, but in terms of units, the one thing I don't like is there are no Final Fantasy 7 or 8 characters, which is really, there's every other Final Fantasy. There's even Type 0 in there, Final Fantasy Type 0, and a few Final Fantasy Tactics characters, but no 7 or... I even have some Nier Automata guys, because when I first started playing, that was their... Yeah, that was like their big thing that they were pushing, so they gave you exclusive characters for that.
Maybe 7 and 8 will be like... I mean, I could see 7 being like, paid DLC or something.
Yeah.
But 8 isn't popular enough.
That's so sad. That's my favorite. Not because...
it's like... those characters wouldn't be as recognizable, just because people didn't really like that game as much.
Yeah, but there's characters... Like there's Squall, characters from, like, Final Fantasy... Yeah.
Squall's pretty recognizable as a brooding guy.
Yeah, but name me a character from Final Fantasy, like, 2.
They didn't. Well, they had
the Black
names,
Mage.
You could rename them.
Yeah, I mean, they're in this game. Like, there's Final Fantasy 2 characters. I don't even know what their names are. But in any case, the game also has like exclusive characters to it. Like, there's an actual like legit storyline. Mm-hmm. It's very basic. It's the main guy, Rain, is like the son of the king, and he has to prove himself for the country, and it's being invaded by these 9 Versatis of the, and then you have like Earth and Dark and Fire, and each one of them have to find the crystal, because Final Fantasy, and you always need crystals. They want to destroy the crystal, and you have to go around the world and stop them, recruiting your party member. It's very, very basic.
Yeah.
The characters themselves they're interesting. Like, I like the personalities of Rain and Lastwell. They're your first 2 characters you get. And when you first get introduced to the Esper system, which is their summons, you actually have to go through like a tower. The first place I go through is Siren's Tower. That's the first one you get. All the other ones are unlocked as you go through the game. Like, you have to do side quests for people, but Siren is right there in the storyline. And before you start a battle, sometimes the characters will chat with each other. And I liked it in the beginning where it was like, Rain was talking about, oh, I can't wait to see Siren. I heard she's the most beautiful thing in the world. I can't wait to lay eyes on her. And Laswell like, well, what if it's a guy? What do you think about that? He's like, please don't talk like that. And it just moves on. So it's some pretty interesting dialogue between them and everything. But, like, I've been playing for probably about a month and a half now, maybe even a little bit longer. And the main currency in the game that you would have to use real money for is Lapis, which is this like little blue jewel that pretty much is used
from Minecraft.
Yeah, like all kinds. Yeah, and you use that for all kinds of stuff. You use that to summons, to build up, to increase your slots for how much equipment you have, how much abilities you have, how many actual units you can have in total. And at first it's a slow grind, but now I have like almost 20,000. And as far as energy is concerned, like, you can use energy, and of course it goes down on the bar, but it'll also enable you to stack it. So I have like 73 total max energy, but every day I can use 100 lapis to buy 100 extra energy. So that'll just go into my pool. So now I have 179. And then if I don't use any, I can do it again. I think it maxes out at 500. But I don't seem to use it enough because there's other things to do in the game that doesn't just use energy. Like, you can go to an arena and do, like, it's more of a PV, somebody else had set up a team, but you're just playing the computer as that team.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're playing somebody, but it's somebody else's team. And then, like, the special events, like near
versus Ghost.
Yeah, something along that ways. And then, like, sometimes they'll do specialty events like the Nier Automata, where it's like, it's a giant boss that has like hundreds of thousands of HP, and you can fight that X amount of times to gain materials to trade them in for things to awaken your guys, which would be boost them up from like they go by stars. I think the highest is 6 stars. So you X amount of items will boost from 4 stars to 5 stars and et cetera from there. So I don't know. I find myself playing it maybe an hour or two every day. Like, I'll wake up in the morning during my morning coffee before work, and I'll do like my pickups for the day, seeing what's new, seeing what I get free for the daily login, and then just seeing if any like new announcements come in. And then when I get home, I'll run through a few levels just to push myself through the story and collect any of the specialty items to trade in for other things. And yeah, that's about it. The only thing I hate is it's a battery eater. You know, oh man, it's an awful battery eater. So, I mean, I recommend anybody to try it just because, I mean, if you're a Final Fantasy fan and you happen to get a character you really then use that character. Because I like Final Fantasy X, and I have Waka. And as you level him up and rank him up and everything, he gains abilities that are similar to his Final Fantasy X stuff. So he'll have like attack reels or Dark Buster and things like that. So it's cool seeing that in the game. So there you go. I'm done with that now. That's my mobile game.
The main reason I didn't really get connected to it, because like, it's definitely one of the better mobile games out there. I don't respond well to mobile games usually.
Yeah.
But like, really the only thing you play is the battles. Like, you just go through, you know, they'll have like like you said, they're between scenes, like you kind of tap through the dialogue and stuff. And then like, you get to like the next area, you fight like 2 or 3 battles, and then it's just another like dialogue scene, and then 2 or 3 battles, and then another dialogue. That's all I saw anyway.
See, now you didn't get that far. Actually, they introduce it right after the first stage, and every stage have that. After you do, like you said, you go up the ladder. Stage 1, go through your battles, beat it. Stage 2, stage 3, whatever, till you finally get the boss. It opens up the next area on the map. You go back to the old area, there's actually an option called Explore, and it is literally a free roam around the map. You get to find treasure, you get to find special keys, you get in random battles, which can be a little obnoxious, but that's Final Fantasy, so you kind of get used to it. And it adds like a different like play to the game, rather than just going, like you said, from one to the next to the next to the next. You can go into an area and just walk around freely, explore the map, areas that you didn't see in the cutscenes. Get into as many random battles as you want, earn your gold and earn your items, because enemies drop items all the time, and if you don't have enough gil, just go into an exploring area, you can pay 10 energy and you can stay in an exploring area for hours. There's no time limit. And even when you beat the boss of the exploration area, which is right near the exit, it asks you, do you want to leave or do you want to continue walking around? So, I mean, again, like, maybe that's what you needed. Maybe you needed something a little bit more to break it up. If you ever get
the battles weren't terribly interesting. Like, you tap the characters to do like their auto attack type thing.
Yeah.
And then like, you can like, I think you hold on to them to go to like the different.
You gotta swipe left or right to do their.
Right.
You swipe left to activate their skills. So it's any skills or magic they have. You can swipe the other way to activate items, which I never use items.
Yeah.
You can then swipe down to defend, or if you chose anything else and you just want to attack again, it's swipe up. So it's like...
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive. It's just like...
Yeah.
It's kind of simple if you don't really get into that, because you can literally just, like other Final Fantasy games, you can just kind of swipe, attack in most battles, and it's over. But I never felt like it had as much depth as other games do. But I was just doing the opening levels, too. So
right. And it's, again, a mobile game. So it's like, you can't put... Like, I didn't have a high bar going in, and... Well, whatever bar I had it at, it went over it, so I'm satisfied. And it's free. I haven't put a single penny into it, so I'm all right with it for right now. So, okay.
Speaking of mobile games, have you guys heard of WWE Tap Mania?
I actually have.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to finish off Ys 8. That's a thing. I've already talked about that game before, though. I got into the part. I don't know. I guess I'll just spoil it on here if you guys won't care.
No.
I got to the part where I finally met up with Dana, and she's like she's like a different race. She's from a different timeline, and they're kind of like figuring out like what's the ancient like civilization, like what happened to it, like what happened to her people. So you're kind of like switching between the present, like you're shipwrecked on this island, you're trying to get off the island, but you're also trying to figure out what the hell happened to like her whole civilization of ancient people. And so finally there, I think I'm on like chapter 5. I caught a really huge fish. I posted that on Twitter. Yeah, the fishing game can get obnoxious sometimes because you're just mashing X and you're holding the left stick in a direction or there. Combat, like I've already talked about combat. Combat's gotten a lot better. Like I've gotten a huge variety of moves now that I can use, and each one of them are used for different occasions. I finally got. I think I have my main party all together now, so that's kind of cool. So I'm using Hummel a lot more, the guy with the gun. That's really cool. I haven't played a whole lot of games this week. I've been pretty busy with work, finishing off Ys 8, and hanging out with a lady friend.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much like my week. I think the weekend though I've played a lot of like Super Mario games, or not Super Mario games, but Super Nintendo games, because I got that SNES Classic.
Oh, you actually found one?
I pre-ordered one, man. Like I was able to get in. Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow.
That's what me and my brother are gonna do this weekend. Actually, I'm gonna take it over to him tomorrow because he's like, he got off all weekend because he was gonna go to Colorado with a friend, and then his friend bailed. So he was like, "What are you up to this weekend?" I guess I'm not going to Colorado. Yeah. So I was like, "Well, I can bring you your SNES Mini. That this is your birthday present from Mom, technically, but I ordered it. And you can like play that, like play some 2-player stuff on Saturday. And there's a new like barcade that opened up
nice.
downtown. We've never had one before, so it's really cool. And so I think we're gonna go there like Saturday night after playing games all day and play more games and drink.
That sounds like a wonderful day.
Yeah, I'll have more to talk about next week as far as that stuff is concerned.
Cool.
But I'm kind of jealous of your SNES stuff all week, even though I could just play things on the computer.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
The SNES,
but you can't play Star Fox 2, not yet.
The SNES Classic has like really addictive like menu music. Like I find myself humming it all the time, like at work and like just whenever I'm doing whatever. I've also forgot to mention last week that I've been playing a lot of Picross S, and that's the more classic style of Picross, the 2D style. I prefer the 3D style just because the stuff looks prettier. If you try to do 2D, it's very pixelated art and it doesn't really make any sense. But like whatever, it's a stupid pixel art mess. But the actual gameplay stuff is fun. Like that's where I come into it for, is like the actual puzzle solving and trying to figure out like the patterns. For those that don't know, Picross is like it's like a minesweeper, but you're trying to draw out the mines. Like you want to like fill them in with I keep using a stylus, but this game doesn't have a stylus. This is what I'm used to on the 3DS. Yeah, that game's really fun. It's really simple. It's Picross. If you've played Picross, you know what it is. Series has been around since the Game Boy. It's crazy.
I like how you got a Switch. Like one of the only games you have on it is friggin' Picross.
Yeah.
It's the most simple game out there.
And I also have what is it? The game that Justin just played, or he was talking about.
SteamWorld Dig 2?
SteamWorld Dig 2. I have that game, but
go.
I prefer to play Picross right now.
Priorities. There you go.
It's just it's very satisfying. It's like for everyone that's out there that like has a newspaper, or I guess still have a newspaper, and figure out like crosswords, like the people that get satisfaction from that kind of stuff is what I get satisfaction from Picross. Like
yeah, because you can do it on a newspaper. For anyone that has a Switch, play SteamWorld Dig 2 instead.
Or like it's like a Sudoku. Like if you play Sudoku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also in a paper book.
in the supermarket on the line out.
But Picross can only be played on a Switch.
Except for the versions you already have on 3DS.
Yeah, but those are old.
It's a puzzle game.
Yeah, new puzzles are always exciting. I've been thinking about getting a newspaper just so I could play the crosswords.
You remind me, like I used to do merchandising at convenience stores.
Yeah.
And I would go into some of these stores and like see the regulars that would come in to play the new games, quote unquote. Like the convenience stores would get in like new like lottery tickets, and then like I explained, they call them games, like literally like, are you coming in to see the new game we got in? And like they'd explain how you do this lottery ticket, like it's some big complex thing.
You scratch this off and you lose. Congratulations, give me $2. That's how you play. Yep.
Like people would come in every time a new one came out. Like it was a yearly Madden release or something, but it was just a friggin' $2 lottery ticket.
The lottery.
That's you right now.
Have you ever like encountered people that like get fake lottery tickets and give it to people for no real reason? Like I don't see the point. Like I encountered that when I was a kid. Someone gave me like a fake lottery ticket, and like I lost it. Right, like it was like a loser for some reason. I don't know why. Like usually there's supposed to be winners, and you're supposed to get excited about that you won money, but it was a loser ticket. And I was like, what's the point? Like you would already lose like most of the time.
That's like getting a fortune cooking and it being like you will have a terrible day. Like that's not how those are supposed to work.
I just like it as a fake loser.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's a more authentic experience.
It's so stupid. Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot. That's pretty much it. I played more Yakuza. Played through that. More story. More Yakuza. Actually, playing Yakuza and then going back to Ys 8 makes me realize how bad the translation is in Ys 8. Like it's just so literal. Like one of my pet peeves is when, like little children try to talk like their friends or their family. So it's like, oh, brother Adol. I'm like, no, please stop. It's because they use what?
Are they Amish?
They just use very literal translations. Like, when everyone knows that Japanese language uses honorifics, right? And instead of dropping that and just calling them Adol like a normal person calls him brother, it's just weird. I don't enjoy that. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Not everyone can be a Nintendo of America with their excellent translation team.
Yeah, Wait, are you referencing something, or are you just saying?
No, like it's just a really good translation.
Okay.
Team. Like if you look at things like I think of the Mario and Luigi games specifically, because those are very Japanese-made games. but then like they come to America and like it sounds very natural, and like they'll reference like American things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they've done interviews with the translation teams before, and they'll say like, we take this Japanese concept and like don't do a direct translation. We find something like related to it, and in English, and use that instead. So like if you compare the English dialogue and the Japanese dialogue, like it's not the same, but the idea comes across. And like I'm always really impressed with it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the games I played on the SNES Classic was the RPG. I've never played the RPG before, but I still recognize that uses like the translation, like the writing for that game is still hilarious. Like
Mario RPG is great.
It makes me want to play the other RPG games that they have because I've never played one before.
The Mario and Luigi series is really good. Unfortunately, they're all Game Boy Advance, DS, or 3DS. There's no console versions of them.
Yeah.
But I have I've played all of them, but I have Mario and Luigi Dream Team, and that one's really good.
I've heard that one's the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite so far is Bowser's Inside Story. I haven't played Dream Team yet.
Yeah.
I like Bowser's.
That one. I didn't like.
Oh, how could you not? So good.
Like I like the top-down element, and you only play top-down as Bowser. When you're Mario and Luigi, you're entirely a side-scroller thing, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, I've heard good things about all of them except for maybe the last one. I can't remember what.
Oh,
Paper Jam.
Yeah,
Paper Jam.
Was it? Or,
but they're doing a remake of the original one that's coming out to 3DS soon. I would recommend that because that was a really good game on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
But it's aged. So I mean, it's still an amazing game. But I am kind of curious about what they're going to do with the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe pick that up because it's technically the first game, just with the engine of the new games.
I mean, from what I've seen, it literally, like you said, it's the first game, almost point by point, just updated graphics and everything. They added in that Bowser's Minions game to it as well, which, from what I've seen, is more of like a castle defense type game where you use, his minions in order to like defend Bowser's castle, obviously, and like I guess you earn stuff that way. I haven't heard many good things about that. Yeah, it's most people like, it's an alright thing, but most people want to play just the original looking better, and that's what it is.
Oh, is it like a MOBA? Where you send minions to fight?
You really have no control over them. You're just like, you Goombas, go that way, and then they go that way, and Goombas do, which is not much. But
yeah. Great. But you can probably find Dream Team pretty cheap now, so there's that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all I've been playing. I think I might have started up, like I might have been playing like NHL games, like just here and there, because 'tis the season. Hockey is back.
Yes.
'Tis the country.
Exactly.
I support.
What's your team?
New Jersey Devils, all the way. Okay. Which is tough around here because you have Rangers and Islander fans, so you got a lot of like competition around. But I gotta. New Jersey doesn't have many teams to call their own, so I gotta stand behind what I got. And I like the Devils in it.
I remember when the Devils were like really. I think I might have watched them win a playoff. I'm not sure. No, I think that might have been the Red Wings. Actually, never mind.
Maybe. I know they won a lot. Yeah, they're
both red. They're both red.
I think we just have the Blues. I don't think Kansas City has a team.
Yeah, I got the Toronto Maple Leafs, the crappiest team ever. All right, enough about hockey. Let's get into the news.
Newsy news tune, a newsy news tune.
Oh, I wanted to do it. Okay.
We can cut that.
I don't care. Newsy news tune, a newsy news tune. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Add some variety.
Double your money.
Do I have to do it now? Because everyone else did it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Go for the turkey. Let's go.
Newsy news tune. Newsy news tune.
Yay!
Woo! Sonic.
Just be a little more excited, guys.
Right.
Sonic news, guys. Sonic. The two guys who love Sonic are not here. Chris.
I love Sonic.
All right, there we go.
I grew up Sega. I didn't have an SNES.
Justin's surrounded by a bunch of 2D Sonic lovers. Yeah, we're getting a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I was gonna say Sonic the movie Hedgehog, but that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, apparently this project has been kicking around for a while, but it finally landed in Paramount Pictures' lap. And according to an article from the Hollywood Reporter, this is going to be a blend of live action and CGI animation, with Tim Miller as the executive producer. He was the director for Deadpool. And it looks like Jeff Fowler will have his directorial debut with this film. I haven't heard of him before. Is he from anything, or is this like
directorial debut? So
yeah,
no.
but I don't know. Maybe he did some other stuff. Maybe he was a producer.
I mean, usually it's like they do like music videos or something, and this is like their first big budget thing. But it also could just be like he's out of film school or like was doing shorts, and this is his big break.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't be known for anything. No.
Yeah. Okay. Because you know me, I don't know anything about
True
celebrities or anything. Who's excited for this, guys?
I'm willing to give anything a chance, especially because now I have my movie pass, so I can just see movies whenever and everything.
Oh yeah.
So if I come out of that movie feeling like they owe me money when I really didn't spend anything, that may say something. I don't know. Like, being that it's a comedy, I don't like those movies that do that nowadays, where it's like live action with CG. I feel like it's going to go the way of the Smurfs. You know? I mean, blue things running around with real... And then you're going to have some asshole, like, I don't know, Jimmy Fallon playing Robotnik. And that's going to piss me off.
That's a terrible choice, actually.
That's not a terrible choice, but I hate Jimmy Fallon. I don't know. Like, I want to give it a chance. I really do. It's just in, like, the article's so, like, it's very basic. You don't really know much about it and everything.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
You know the basic concept of live action CGI. We don't know the story behind it. We don't know who's going to be in it. I mean, Sonic's going to be in it. Robotnik's going to be in it. I would hope Tails and Knuckles will be in it. But then are they going to throw Big the Cat? Because that would drop it down a few notches. Sonic has so many characters, and it has so many different ways that it can tell a story, just between the original side-scrolling and then Sonic Adventure, the 3D, and the Sonic Boom that's out. So it's like, I want to know what direction the movie is going first before I can really start making an assumption on, wow, this is going to suck, or this may have some potential. So
yeah, my thoughts on this is that I've never liked Sonic whenever it had real people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just the thing for me. Like, I like the classic old school, just like, give me Sonic, give me robotic animals, and Dr. Robotnik or Eggman. Like, that's all I need.
Would you count him as a real person? Because, I mean...
Not really. I mean, he's like the odd man. He came from a different dimension. Like, that... Like, I don't picture humans in the Sonic world, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
That's my only thing, is I don't see like why this needs to be a blend of live action and CG.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of any element of Sonic that would need to be live action. Like, they could do a really good CG, like not big budget, obviously, because it's CG. That's kind of how they save money. But like a theatrical release CG Sonic movie, I could see that being good.
Yeah.
But by throwing live action in there, it basically implies it's going to be, some kind of like in the human world thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the vein of like, Garfield or the Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Or the Smurfs.
Yeah, or the Smurfs. Like,
I think the only
there's no good example of that.
I think the only good example of live action mixed with animation is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
True. Space Jam.
And yeah, Space Jam was alright.
Okay, so taking those two examples that you guys just said, there's a difference between animation and CGI.
Yeah.
You mix the Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Space Jam, great movies, but you're right, it's animation. It's cartoons on top of people. And I don't know.
Most of those examples, they know they're cartoons.
Exactly, self-aware of it all.
Yeah.
As opposed to like something like, and like, I'm just going to use the Smurfs again because I hated that movie, where it's like, they want you to believe that it's like, this is real, that they are there. And I understand that they're not, they're CGI and everything like that. I don't know, it just felt so weird, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems like, I don't know why they need that. Just do a CGI
because they
movie.
want to make the Sonic 06 movie.
Probably.
Well, there goes Sonic again. Have a good life.
Yep.
Dead in the water.
Yep. Oh man, like Sonic Mania is the only good thing that has come out of Sonic in like the past 10 years. Well, except for Justin's game. I can't remember what it's called.
Heroes.
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes, yeah. Sonic Heroes.
Did that have any people in it, or is that just Sonic and his friends?
I don't
think it's
remember
just-
people.
Yeah.
No, there shouldn't be. The only one with
The only thing I can think of
real.
with people is Sonic Adventure. Because like the beginning of that takes place at a resort, and there's actually people at that resort,
Yeah.
and then it's like Sonic running around with them and stuff. So they could do something like that, where it's just like Sonic and his friends on an adventure, and there just happens to be people.
That's so weird.
Like they basically
Or-
film, real locations, and then like input Sonic into it, but it's not like about Sonic with people. But then it's like, why do that? Just do like a Toy Story type thing, where it's all CG, but like there's people there.
I was gonna like mention Shadow the Hedgehog with him running around with a gun, but in the media nowadays, I don't think that would really work very well.
Oh no.
No,
So-
don't do that.
Yeah. I don't mean to be insensitive, but Shadow the Hedgehog was a thing. It did happen.
I mean,
It did.
Shadow can be in it,
And it had real people in it, too.
Cool, like the cool like rebellious guy,
Mhm.
but yeah, don't give him a gun. That's a
Mm-mm.
bad idea.
Very bad. Which they should have thought of for that game, but whatever.
All right. Where are we now?
Next.
We're not
Uh,
talking about Sonic anymore. That's where we are.
Nope.
Okay. I'll make this transition because apparently, like the Sonic movie was supposed to be picked up by Sony, but then they dropped it. So let's move on into some Sony news. That's a really
Wow.
bad transition. Like I'm
Yep.
sorry. Like,
There's not much news. There's not.
Yeah, there really is. That's all right.
yeah. So Sony is updating their PlayStation VR headsets. Their new headset coming out is going to come with a new breakout box. This allows HDR to pass through HDMI. I guess before you couldn't use HDR. You had an HDR TV with the headset kit hooked up. And also the newer model is going to have a new processor in there. That's what allows it to do it. And also includes headphones. So there you go. I was thinking about picking up one of these. Not this one, but like before. Because it was like $100 cheaper. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll pick one up, but then they just keep making up with the new headsets, and I really want to try
It's never
VR.
surprising. Like, whenever something goes cheaper, it's like, oh, new version's coming out
Yeah,
every single time.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I mean, it sounds good. Like it sounds like what it should have been originally. Like it's more competitive to the other headsets on the market with its new version.
it's just funny because like when you hear about Sony talking about VR or PlayStation talking about VR, they seem like they don't really have that much of a commercial interest in it. But they're making a new headset. Like, what does that tell you?
Well, they say that it's doing well for them, like that they're selling through, and that like they're basically when they talk about the numbers, they talk about how many units they're shipping. They're not talking about how many are actually selling. They make it sound like it's doing really well for them, so that they can convince people to buy it because they want it to be commercially successful, but it's not.
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
they keep trying.
It's just weird because I think we talked about that they sold like 1 million units in like a year. And
Well, I think again that was how many they shipped.
yeah, I can't remember what the exact numbers were, like if it was shipped or sold through. And then they also said they weren't going to make any more headsets, and they were just going to do like event stuff, like be at events.
I feel like Sony is very like bipolar when it comes to VR, where it's like
Yeah.
they have this like big push for like, oh, buy our new headset. Here's the games that'll go with it. This is so amazing. They do that for a month, and then the next month it's like, so what do you have for VR? What are you talking about? Here's something else, and they just completely ignore it. Yeah, right. Like, and then like a few months later, they come out with something new, and they try like, I don't know if they're like trying to find like that sweet spot, so they put a little bit out, they see how people respond, and then when they don't respond well, they're like, let's just quiet down, wait till people forget, and we try again. So I mean, it's such a weird this is why I can't get into VR, because I don't know, because you don't know what the next thing is going to be. Like you guys said, oh, I'll buy the cheap one. Oh, here comes the new one, and now nothing is backwards compatible with it. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
that.
plus, this is a new model that's still not wireless. Like, it won't. No matter what, it's not going to be viable until it's wireless. So they're putting out a new model that they're still going to have to remedy later when they can figure out wireless. So it's going to be maybe another 2 years where this product is out there until they replace it with something better. So it's just not to the point yet where we really need to care. But I think a big part of the problem is that whenever they release something, it's like just a VR version of what's already out there. Like they announced like the Doom VR and Fallout 4 VR, which looks super janky, or like little, like you said, little event type things, like a video experience to tie into a movie or something like that. Like they're not putting original games on there. There's a few, but they're usually like Vive or Oculus games that are also being put on PlayStation VR. They're not original things.
Yeah, if I was to ever get a VR headset or just try it out, I want to try out Super Hot because that seems like it was made for that. And then I heard Rez is pretty good. Thumper.
That Echo Arena game looks really good. But I don't know if that's PSVR.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's a game where like you don't move around. Like you basically you're like an anti-gravity space, and then you like push yourself off of walls and stuff.
Oh yeah, is that the two teams versus each other? Like kind of yeah.
That's another example where it's like there's a weird amount of like online multiplayer games for VR, where it's still like a very niche market. So like, how are you really going to push these like huge online games? And there's not that many people that have them.
I guess it's like they're expecting the people that have VR to actually buy every VR game because there's not a lot of them.
Yeah,
probably.
And so like you probably have a better chance of connecting to people with VR. One of the coolest things I saw was like I can't remember what the hell it was called, but it was like a dorm room. Like everyone was hanging out in like a dorm, and like they would go off to different activities, and like there was people like not cosplaying but like role playing as like a bot, and like he would help people out. He's like, I'm handy bot. And then it's like there was some really cool like interactive like multiplayer stuff. Like I don't know, I kind of just want the Oasis.
Secretly a handjob robot?
Yeah, he's a handjob robot. You have to input the correct code.
I mean, it's a college dorm situation.
Yeah.
With a handy bot. I don't know.
And then you can buy the attachment for your VR to get the real experience.
There you go.
There you go. See?
I think that's the future.
They have VR porn, don't they?
For everyone. You get a handjob. You get.
I'm pretty sure there's VR porn out there already that you can experience.
I guarantee there is.
Yeah.
Probably more for mobile though.
I remember seeing this because every weird thing's on Facebook. In Japan, because again, everything weird thing happens to be there, there is a chapel there where you can go in and you can pick an anime girl to, quote, marry.
Oh, no.
And you can actually stand there on an altar with a VR on your head, and you're looking at the girl in front of you. And you do the whole marriage thing, and when you go to kiss her, some woman's there with, like, a pair of, like, fake lips on a stick, and she points it at you. I swear, this is a thing.
That's so sad.
So you can virtually get married to an anime chick. That's the future of VR, too.
I don't want to be the job of the person that just kisses someone with lips on a stick.
We live in dark times. This is bad.
Oh, man.
That reminds me of the story we had a few weeks ago about the big like room with Dead or Alive or whatever, and it has like it's like 4D.
Yes, I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah, that was weird.
The future is weird.
The future is weird.
The future is now. In Japan, apparently.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to move on to the Steam review topic. Or
speaking of fake things.
Yeah, speaking of fake and virtual things. Valve has removed but it says here 200 fake games from their catalog. So for those of you that don't know out there, Steam has a fake game problem where people essentially asset flip. So they make one game and then just like change the assets up and then keep selling them off, and like they could just keep making them. And essentially here they removed 173 games from two developers. So this is just between two developers called Silicon Echo Studios and Zenitron Productions. And it turns out it's like actually the same person that was using different accounts to upload these games and sell them. And then Polygon reported on an email that was sent to a representative to Valve saying they were given no warning, no opportunity to change their ways. Like they were like trying to find sympathy, I guess.
But they knew what they were doing. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the dev reached out to Polygon after that and said they were doing shady practices, but it was supposed to be for easier statistical tracking, which is complete bullshit. It's nice to see that Valve is cracking down on these fake games and like doing something to protect their ecosystem, I guess.
Yeah. I like that they didn't give notice because like they shouldn't have to.
Right.
But it does worry me if this is like a bot situation, like on the YouTube, like the way they vet content and stuff. If it's something like that, like it could easily catch something that shouldn't be taken off.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it would make some pretty bad headlines. But as far as this is concerned, like we need more stuff like this.
Yeah, it seems like no one like who's been going to the proper legal systems like it hasn't been affected yet. So this developer, they didn't state their name, I guess, because I couldn't find it anywhere. Said that they were driven out of the. I mean, like an actual person's name, not the studio name. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, so they're saying they're basically been driven out of the video game development community. That their reputation's tarnished. And like, oh my god, poor me. But Valve did give an explicit they're saying they're going to crack down on fake games and bots. They're going to make it harder for fake devs to succeed. They also nerfed their trading card system. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Like by nerfing, I mean, not by the trading card system. Because I sell a shitload of trading cards and I get keys for PUBG and open up loot crates because I have a problem.
I think a lot of what it means is there's like these games are considered fake because they're basically just a way to get out like trading cards to people that want to collect them. Kind of like the on PlayStation, the fake games that are just easy trophies.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of same thing, but on Steam. So people will make these games where you can get really easy trading cards, and then people sell those trading cards, even if it's like 10 cents at a time or whatever at the most. Like still, they're playing this game for like 5 minutes, getting 100 trading cards, selling those off. Like it's a whole market, and that's a lot of what happens with these games.
Yeah. Or they set up their bots to run like all night, so it's automatically running it, and you're just getting all these cards, having enough to get another game and selling it off. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
these people are scum.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm glad Valve is doing something proper.
And I know you say like it could lead to some people coming down, unfairly, but I mean that's just. I would rather have a system like this in place to get rid of like a large chunk of them, and maybe only have to deal with a few people that came down like by accident. Like it's gonna happen.
It goes back up.
Yeah, they're gonna go back up. It's gonna happen. It's human error, even though a bot did it. Someone will go in and check it out or whatever. But to get these guys off is really the big thing. So
yeah. I have to keep dealing with spammers and stuff like this like all the time at work. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just today I had to deal with it. I'm gonna keep moving on into some more Valve and Steam news with PUBG. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds has been hit with a negative review bomb. Apparently, Chinese players are reporting that they're receiving ads in PUBG for VPNs. Chinese players have been running into problems where they're experiencing lag-affected servers, and basically, in order to play, they join other servers in Korea. Europe and North America. So it's kind of weird that they're getting ads for a game that's in early access.
Yeah, how are they getting ads in game? I don't even understand that.
So the way I understand it is like the lobby system for PUBG is basically just like a web browser. So you could easily display an ad in that.
Oh, okay.
So with this, it resulted in over 10,000 negative reviews. that have been written on the Steam page. And thanks to Steam's handy dandy Steam chart, you can see
That you
those.
shunned.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is why it exists.
Yeah, it's kind of great that they like it actually like played out this way, I guess, to show like how useful it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like, are we gonna get ads in our PUBG for VPN?
There's
or not
definitely some
VPN?
ethical issues there with a pay to play game that also runs ads. Like,
Yeah, that's weird.
there's already
Yeah.
enough with the loot boxes that you can buy. You can buy your gold to get those,
Mhm.
or you can buy individual items on the workshop, which I don't know if that goes to the developer. It might just go to the person selling it. But Valve definitely gets a cut of it if Bluehole doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this is supposed to specifically be Chinese based because they notoriously have like slow connection times and stuff. And this is it says here that they feel that Bluehole could do more to support their servers as opposed to promoting the advertisement of tools used to better access foreign ones. Trying to say like, hey, your networks take a lot more bandwidth for us to support because like it's expensive over there. So you should use this VPN to go elsewhere.
Hmm.
Whereas I don't have that issue here as much. But maybe that's why I've been sucking so much lately, because there's been all the like really good Chinese people in our servers.
That's
Sure,
why,
we'll go with that.
that's why you have to play on the Chinese servers and the oceanic
No, I
servers.
tried that a few times. It was murder. They're really good.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still a little bit worried about the future of PUBG. Like they actually spun out the team into like a totally like core team for PUBG. It's not just Bluehole anymore.
Which could be good.
But yeah, which exactly
More
that could be
support
really
for it.
cool. Like have like a dedicated team to it, work on
Yeah.
everything.
Probably use faster development times. Like a lot of these new features, like the new map and stuff, could roll out quicker.
Yeah.
They would have dedicated like social people involved with that. So like Bluehole can work on other stuff, but PUBG can still be supported long term.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be like the marketing wouldn't be split of like someone talking about Bluehole's got this in development. It's like, but what about PUBG? Are you stopping that? It's like no, that's its own thing now. Calm down. Bluehole is a company.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've already put 90 hours into that game, so like I'm pretty good with
Wow.
my investment of $30, $36. Yeah.
I've put 43 hours into it, which is pretty good for my investment of nothing.
Yeah, because you got that for free from our friend
Yeah.
Lo. Yeah.
Because Lo is a great human being.
He's a great human. Okay, so our last story for today, and I'm kind of excited about this one,
Me too.
is a game called Spellbound coming from Chucklefish, the developers for Starbound and the publishers for Stardew Valley, which is coming to the Switch. So Chucklefish is still in early development for Spellbound, which is a Magic School RPG / life sim, which sounds pretty cool. It's like you're being Harry Potter.
It's a Harry Potter dating sim, basically.
It's like a
I'd play
Harry. Yeah, they kind of liken to like their inspiration for this is Harvest Moon / Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Stardew Valley for sure.
Yeah, it's got the same art. Well, yeah, those games have the same art style, right? Like
Yeah.
Starbound.
Honestly, it kind of looks like the original Game Boy Advance releases of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
It has that kind of like sprite style to it, but
When I
Stardew Valley's
initially
more accurate because they actually did that.
when I initially saw the first image of it, like the header image on this article, I thought it was like a magic school that was put in the Stardew Valley town. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, cool, they're going to like bring a magic school to Stardew Valley. That's going to be awesome. They were actually doing like publicity for like a different game. I can't even remember what it is. And that doesn't
I
really
think
speak.
you're talking about the release of Stardew Valley on Switch, actually.
No, it was something like a new
Oh, no,
game
War
from
Groove.
Chucklefish. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is another Switch game. So
Oh,
that's why I
wait.
was confused.
Wargroove is supposed to be like that Advanced Wars type game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. They currently mostly have the game world lore and the characters planned out. Taking inspiration from Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, and possibly like they talked about combat from 2D Zelda games, which that's kind of
Nice.
basically like Stardew Valley. It has that kind of inspiration as well, a little bit.
Yeah. But I could see more spell type, like more ranged attacks and things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Looks like they're investigating romance options to be a little bit more dynamic. They talked about like how you could it's not just like straight up like giving someone a gift like over the course of weeks and getting affection that way. It's a little bit more dynamic where like they could break up with you, which is kind of cool. Like you kind of have to continue to be a nice person to them and not just give them rocks every week because you ran out of hearts for them. Yeah, I kind of want to. I really want to play this thing.
Yeah. I'm really curious about the way they're retooling the romance system because that's always a big thing of the farming sims. It's like you do your crops, your animals, and then like you go woo someone, and it's always just like a very monotonous like, what's your favorite thing? I'll bring that to you every day
Yeah.
until you love me. That's not how love works usually.
Really? It isn't?
You don't
Oh
just pay
man.
someone a fish every day and then marry them 3 years later. Like, as far as I know, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but like, this sounds like it's a lot more realistic with like, you actually have to interact and like go on dates, and I assume there's probably some kind of like dialogue options while you're on dates.
Oh, like a choice type deal. Like they ask you a
like
question,
you
you have
to like
two
act out
choices.
the date and like talk to them and like get to know them and stuff that way, and you could like have bad responses. Like I would really like kind of a visual novel style, but like not in visual novel form because I hate visual novels. Like, have that idea of like dialogue trees depending how people react to you, like in an actual game.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you can basically like you can date or marry anyone in the game, but you have to actually try for it. So it's not like there's certain bachelors or bachelorettes. It's like anyone's an option if you try hard enough.
Yeah. For those that don't know, like when I played Stardew Valley, I kind of just gave everyone the junk I had on me and I didn't want. So it eventually worked out. Someone found like the junk that I had, so I kept giving them the junk, and I don't know, it just worked out. So like with this, I can't really do that and just game the system.
Right.
Yeah, I have to actually work at it.
That's hard enough in real life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to, but I think it'll be fun.
I like it how they explain it as, I feel like an awkward teenager going to school again. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I want to play this, but I hated that feeling.
Right.
I still have
That's why
that
I'm getting
feeling.
married. I don't want to feel like that anymore.
Yeah. But I have magic, so I guess it's okay.
True. Just do a charm person spell.
I wonder
you
if
go.
they would if they would implement that. That has to be a thing, right? Like a love potion or something.
Maybe that's something you need to give people in order to
Like,
love you.
Craft it, and there's like a chance that it'll fail. Like if they know what you're doing, that'd be fun.
It turns into
You
a
can
Rick
go
and
horror
Morty
claw.
thing where you give them the potion, they turn into a Cronenberg monster
Or a cat,
or a cat. That'd be cute. You just keep her as a pet.
and you just marry the cat.
Yep.
Well, no, oh boy.
Does it get weird?
These games are so. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the news that I've rounded up. We're doing this on a Thursday, so it might be some stuff I'm missing. Yeah,
I mean, it's New York Comic Con right now, so it probably won't be any news stuff.
What was that?
So it's New York Comic Con right now, so it probably won't be any gaming stuff.
Oh, true.
I'll have news coming out all weekend. But
I just want Mario Odyssey to come out.
I know there's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. It comes out the weekend of my bachelor party, which kind of sucks because I feel like I should be social and like talk to my friends that are going to Chicago with me. But also, we're going to be on a train ride to Chicago, and I want to play Mario. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
That game looks so good.
Oh yeah.
Anything you're looking forward to this this holiday, Chris?
Oh man, I haven't really been paying attention much to stuff because as I said, I'm getting married as well, so it's like money needs to go towards something else. However, like my fiance isn't really big into games. Like she was never really like into that whole scene or whatever. She never really understood why I play games or anything like that. But she has been known to sit down and play Mario straight through by herself. Like she's played almost all of them and everything.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that after the wedding, and if we manage to get at least something good back from it, probably not, because that's life. But if we get at least something good back from it, I can like point Mario Odyssey in her way and be like, hey, look, Mario looks awesome, doesn't he? We should put this in the living room. So that's kind of my thing, because there's a lot of stuff on the Switch that I want to play now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bundle with Mario included on it.
Right, exactly. So that's even more like, hey, look, we're even saving money. We both love that.
Just show her the Cheap with like Mario's mustache and
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trailer with the dinosaur.
Yeah, right.
oh yeah.
That's gonna be so awesome. It's everything I see about that game is just so like. You would think that maybe like Breath of the Wild would be like game of the year for people, but I feel like Odyssey is going to take it.
It's going to be a tough choice.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
I mean, we got new Zelda, new Metroid, and new Mario. Just on the Nintendo side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
I know.
And they're all excellent, from what I hear, at least.
All right, Chris, can you tell the people where they can find you?
All right, so if you want to find me, head on over to youtube.com, go up to that search bar, and type in MetalBlade427. That's MetalBlade427. You can even just search Metal Blade if you can't remember the numbers. Go under channels. I think I'm like the third or fourth one down, so I'm moving up in the world. As I said earlier, you can check out my channel for a bunch of like educational style Let's Plays. I playthroughs. I don't really like using the word Let's Plays, but same deal. I have a Twitter, so you can go ahead and follow me on that. I don't really post much there, but I definitely am a serial liker. So I'll be liking all types of stuff, and now Twitter likes to repost your likes, so that's a thing. Yeah.
It's more Facebook now.
I know. I actually, one part of my job, like legit part of my job at WizKids is the main contact for social media. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been on my Twitter or my Facebook in like this whole week, but I haven't been off of it on, for the WizKids side. So why don't you go follow them too? So you can see my random crazy posts.
There you go.
I followed them on Facebook because you sent me the link.
Exactly. Yes. Good. Good, Justin. Very good. You probably saw that weird GIF of the girl with the Beholder trophy, that giant multi-eyed head and everything.
I don't actually use Facebook very much, so I probably haven't. I haven't been on it today, and since I liked that.
Well, you should go see it because they said so. Thank you.
Fair enough.
I have a Facebook as well as Metal Blade, but I don't use. I have a VidMe, but most of my old stuff is on that, or at least I'm reposting a lot of my older things just to give it a little bit new life. And I'll be posting some stuff on my YouTube eventually. I mean, a lot of stuff happening within the next 2 months, but I'll see how much I can get done. So, yeah, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and make sure you get equipped with me, MetalBlade427. I have to end it that way. It's just the way it goes.
All right, Justin, you're up to follow that.
Yeah, as always, I am Zero Score on all the places. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Also VidMe, I keep forgetting I have that. I haven't used it in a while. I should probably catch up on that, but whatever. It's kind of an archive. Like, I'll just put stuff up there after I'm done. But not too much to talk about for the next while, because I'm just kind of getting stuff ready for post Final Fantasy VI life. That ends in 3 or 4 weeks, I think. First weekend in November, it'll be. And I'm just kind of getting a few videos ready for the time between that and Final Fantasy IX starting. So I can just schedule them to go while I'm busy with, honeymoon and whatnot. Thomas is seeing one of the things I've already got done and ready and like up. It's just not,
Oh yeah, that's right.
public or anything. And I'm working. I'm doing 2 parts of underrated DS games. list and then 2 parts of an underrated GameCube games list that
Oh,
I'm
that's a good
hoping
choice.
to put up throughout like November and December to kind of fill that gap every, maybe every 2 weeks or so. So I'm doing all that now and then just posting them like to schedule. So I'm finishing up the second part of the DS games list, and then I'll start working on the GameCube games one. But I'm having a lot of fun with that stuff. I just can't really talk about it because none of it's public yet. But yeah, I really enjoyed that stuff a lot, and I haven't really gotten to work on it in a while because I was busy with school and getting Final Fantasy VI stuff ready and all that. So yeah, I like getting back into that stuff again. To what I consider my channel like to focus on when it's not doing story plays every week. So yeah, there's that.
All right. You can find me, your host Thomas, at CSG Thomas on Twitter. You can also email me, thomas@charshot.com. Email me there with all your questions you want on the show. We can answer them, no problem. If you want me on your show, you can email me there. I've got an invite from Jacob. I'm going to be on his show in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, you can also visit the website, charshot.com. If you miss any of our episodes or videos, all that stuff is there. So you can easily find it. And until then, guys, enjoy your games.
Awesome.